like I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. My boss is letting me work with you. All that is going fine, and I'm not gonna. I know what I want to do. You know what I mean? And what I want to do is get my GED, complete my associate's degree, my general studies, and then go off for my to a 4 year university. You know what I mean? And I think there, when I get there, like I know I want to deal with like education, you know, and then like by you bringing the business management in there is a really good idea too. And when I get there, you know, when I get to that point, then I can make a more structured decision on how I want to do things.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you can see me running things and stuff like that too. And I just feel like now I have it planned out for the next 5 years. And what I mean by that is getting my GED, completing my associate's degree, and getting off to the 4 year university that I want to go to. Then when I make it there, then that's when everything is going to open up for my ultimate, you know what I mean? And I don't want to go past that point. And I know now, yeah, I could just get my GED and get a job and stuff like that. But I'm a lifelong learner, and I want to get that knowledge. You know what I mean? I'm hungry for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
And if I'm hungry for it and I got that mindset now, I'm going to go ahead and go with it now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At first, I was leaning toward advocacy and education, and I've chosen education.
Mm-hmm.
I see how the students flock with me. I see what kind of relationship that I can get with the students, and I feel like I've been too traumatized throughout life to be an advocate, to provide advocacy as well as like some sort of like counseling or whatever. Like that plays with more of my mental, and I don't have the energy for it. And I know that that's not for me. You know what I mean?
And I don't know if you heard me say before, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to be a coach, you know. And it took me a while to see that for myself because I thought that's what I wanted to do, or I thought that the way to do that was to be a coach or a teacher. But you can be a coach and a teacher without being a coach and a teacher. Like just by people can learn from you through example. And the reason I say that, which kind of makes me think of what you're saying, is like I want to focus on a good life, and you know, there's a time to work with people on some of the like the negative stuff, but in my experience, you can really just focus on the positive. Like I can literally just engineer my life in a way where I'm doing all the things that I want to do, and I can have a profile on my Facebook or some website that describes my story. Kind of, okay, you see how you're gonna write a book, right? You write a book, you share your truth, and then you live your life. So I share my profile that kind of describes my life and my challenges or whatever, where people can kind of see these videos and learn from, and then I live my best life. And then when I'm living my best life, I'm telling everybody that, you know, today's a new day. Like today doesn't have to be like yesterday. Today could be the beginning of a new life. And you really don't ever have to talk about the past. Like no matter all the trauma that you've been through, like you don't have to talk about, you know, it may be beneficial so that you can be able to understand and be able to maintain strength during challenging times. However, if you truly believe that the past is in the past and that tomorrow is a new day, you don't have to talk about the past.
Hold on, real quick. Hold on, just one second. Hello.
So that's an interesting idea. It's a very interesting idea. You don't have to talk about the past. So much of our time is spent trying to get acknowledgement for the past, and I get it. I get it. I mean, if we just look at it, if you just focus on the next step, you'll be able to move forward that one step. And that doesn't mean that there isn't a storyline that's already occurring that is trying to that could be potentially trying to sabotage your movement. And looking at the past can allow you to recognize that there may be some group or individuals that are attempting to sabotage. I'm not discounting that. However, if you're trying to get somewhere, if each day you're moving in a certain direction, looking forward is going to allow you to have the most momentum. Now, you could look back, but understand that to the degree that you look back, you may be experience resistance. You may get slowed down.
Oh.
Yeah. That's Miss Blockton up in here. Know what I mean? Right here we got El Juju Man, El Juju Baby, IU, Juju Baby IU. Hanging out, checking out another episode of the Real Talk Show. Today's an episode of In My Own Words, a box in the box. We're back at day 36. Looking at a young JRX 36 with the red glasses.
Sorry about that. I got some good news too for you, but I'm gonna save it to the end though.
That what?
I got some good news for you.
Oh, you're gonna remember, right?
I ain't gonna forget it.
Good, because my memory don't be the sharpest. So yeah, so what I was saying is that there came to and then to tie it to something that are you silent? Is your mic silent?
My fault. Okay.
I'm
glad you stopped me from that because I would have got to talking and you would have been
like so like I guess I want to give you the specifics as to what made me think about that. And it got to do with religion, or got to do with like my belief in my superhero who happens to be Christ. Like when
in your hero that happens to be Christ, so like a C on your chest instead of an S on your chest. Is that what you're saying? Okay, so you calling him a superhero? Okay. So like more superhero than Professor X, more superhero than Storm, more superhero than Spider-Man. So you putting them in the super? Okay.
And when I was
so that's the character you talking about. Okay. So what? So tell me about this character.
I was able to develop like a belief system or faith in his words. It made me feel like I don't gotta sacrifice, like because it's work. Like I told you, like working with people who is work to work directly. So I felt like, I don't have to sacrifice my life because he sacrificed his life. So I can live my best life and let that be the example for those that are living, a challenging life.
And be grateful for the life you have. That without the gratefulness, it can turn into a sense of entitlement.
And that's really why my message to people who want to commit suicide is like, yo, like there's a different way. Like your past doesn't have to dictate your future. Like you can look forward and work your way backwards. Like, like people make it seem to us like time has a beginning and an end. Like yesterday causes today. But I get that, right? Yesterday, the day before, like, because you're growing up. But mentally, you can go in the future and work backwards. And that's like for instance, right now you're talking about how you want to complete your associates, like you want to eventually like get a bachelor's, like you're labeling it all, you're laying it all out. Now, are you moving from here to there or from there to here?
And here's the logic or the reasoning behind it. Yo, death is the ultimate outcome. Death is the ultimate outcome. From there, you can work your way back. And if you're having trouble finding a sense of belonging, a way to contribute, if you're not able to learn to thrive, not just survive, then it makes it not so cool to be here. And then what needs to change? It's like, what's the story? What's the life that you want to live? And then you have to have faith that is a possibility, And then for me, my superhero gave me some words that allowed me to be like, okay. So then I can have a good life because of what you represent. So because of what he represents, I could have a good life, And then all I got to do is my best. Just got to do my best. And for me, service is work. Service is work. When you serve, is work. But when you truly serve, it feels like play. It feels like play. It feels like play. Now, not that necessarily you take a play approach to when individuals are expressing sorrow or some other extreme emotion, but ultimately, it's a game, it's a puzzle that needs to be discovered. So the process of discovering that doesn't have to be associated with anxiety, stress, off ease. Like you could experience minus the suffering.
Like a case can be made that you're looking into the future and you're working your way back. Like I know that in the future I want to have this.
Yeah, reverse engineer your life. That's the term.
This and that. And then you're working your way back. And then today in this moment, you're doing this, and tomorrow you'll do another step, moving towards your future goal. Rather than saying, I used to be so-and-so, and today I am so-and-so because I used to be so-and-so. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't work that way either, but I'm just trying to suggest that there's a way of being in the moment right now that you could completely ignore the past and only focus on who you want to be in the future. I think that sometimes for people that no longer want to be here, they don't have any hope for the future.
So it's like then it becomes about lifestyle and social engineering. You got to engineer your lifestyle, your time, the time that you have from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, to a week, to a month, to a year. You got to program your time with a program that's going to benefit you. What does benefit you? One that makes you happy, one that brings you ease. What's your dream space? Now you got to describe the details of your dream space because they'll be different than mine. But if you're unable to pick or discover your dream space, then go serve others. Help others discover their dream space. Help others realize their true potential. In the process of you helping others, then you'll discover it for yourself. Because that might just be it. But lifestyle engineering, social engineering is how to work as a team. You know, being conscious of those powers, dynamics that occur within our society, or those power dynamics associated with wealth, with intelligence, initiative, you know, one's attractiveness, one's emotional intelligence, you know, based on one's gender, race, age, class, you know, whatever else we decide to create power around. Those it's important to socially engineer your life, considering all those topics, how you believe, what you believe about them, how you relate to them, you know, how it impacts your personal life. So going through a process of engineering your lifestyle, and both personally and socially, will put you on that journey where you discover who you are. You know, it's like a journey of self-discovery, and in that journey of self-discovery, and you find strength. You know, the strength to want to continue to live, the strength to want to create the best story that you could possibly tell. You know, for some is a rags to riches story. From some is like the from going from the lowest, like what they would feel like. I'm thinking of the frog and that turns into a prince. You know, that this journey, and then in the frog that turns into a prince is based on some show, some cartoon show, some cartoon movie, or it's a theme that has occurred through time about the idea that a female can kiss a frog and it turns into a prince, meaning like the frog can fall in love, you know, with someone who they may perceive to be out of their class, you know, and they can still be able to have a relationship, you know, through some miracle. But lifestyle and social engineering is crucial. And then in the process of engineering this lifestyle, you know, especially if you're having difficulties managing yourself, you know, sometimes it's better to be solo, you know, but for others, it's better to be in company, you know, or a combination of the two, going from one to the other, depending on the season. But all this you then take into account, you know, but you just gotta know where you stand on these things and then live your life.
Which is why they want to leave. You know, they feel like, yo, yesterday was bad, the day before yesterday was bad, so tomorrow's going to be bad. And I can say, well, pause. Let's look at it a little bit different. Like, I can tell you from my experience that yesterday doesn't necessarily have anything to do with today if you focus on making tomorrow today, you know.
And I know I'm speaking generally. I get it. I'm oversimplifying it. But in the oversimplification of it, I'm showing the possibility. But I am oversimplifying it. You know, obviously, what happens yesterday does carry on today. You don't pay your bills, you can get evicted, you can get your power turned off. So there are real consequences that then create real situations. I recognize that. So I don't want to discount.
You know, like living, like for instance, I decided.
But then you got to solve it based on what you got. You know, because then if you find yourself homeless, then you got to solve that based upon what you got. And then what resources you have around you, who you like, you have to have then you have to literally engineer your lifestyle to get yourself from that position to the position that you desire, your dream space.
At one point that I wanted to be the best me that I could be. Well, that best me is not necessarily in my past. That best me doesn't exist yet. It's in my future. So then I'm trying to be the best me of my future and then work my way backwards. So that I thought that I just want to be able to show individuals who no longer want to be here a different way of living. You know, like a different a different path. And then what that means is you live your best story. Like, so for instance, you're here right now, right? You could do anything you want to do. So what's your best life? What's your best story like? And then aim for that. And then, so a person
But that takes time because it takes repetition, especially if what you want to do, if you have some expectation of getting acknowledged or recognized. If you have that expectation, which will become a burden that will cause you stress and anxiety, if you have that, then it takes time. It takes years of work, years of relationship building in order to accomplish a task. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not able to do an event that garners attention, but then the practice becomes in sustaining it and maintaining that through time, which then is the management of the people that make these events happen. How you manage the people that make these events happen will determine your success.
who's trying to eliminate themselves maybe like, well, that doesn't work for me. And I could be like, listen, I get it. And then I can be like, look, I have experiences that I could say the same thing as you. And then hopefully, like, with the work that we've been doing by that time, we have hundreds and thousands of stories of people who came from low to be able to get strong and be able to like overcome it and become their best self. And then basically that's their evidence for them to decide to be a new person, for them to decide to take on a new task or, improve their life, rather than necessarily me focusing on, becoming like a teacher per se that is trying to work out the details of their past or, now I'm not saying I don't want to necessarily do that. If the person is in my face and we're in my sphere, I want to be of service. Mm-hmm. But in the bigger picture, my impact, because we can only serve a small number of people, right? And the example I give you is like, let's say that we make a video that goes viral. We can't answer everybody's post. Like we can't respond to everyone's post. We can only impact a small number anyway. Mm-hmm. So why not live our best life as the example for those individuals that want to be able to, that maybe don't have hope in the future,
And to tie this in, okay, I spoke with my cousin earlier.
Okay, the one in Chicago?
She stayed in Rockford.
Okay, Rockford.
Yep, I'm gonna be with her when I go up there too. Well, I kind of gave her a little input on how I would like to go to Fort Myers and things like that and stuff, right? Well, I told her what we was doing, and she damn near like jumped through the phone. She was like, "Oh my God, this is cool." She was like, because right now what it is that she has a lot on her plate, and the reason why she got a lot on her plate is she has temporary custody, which is a story that will be very good to get told on here with us.
Okay.
She has temporary custody of a few children, which is a friend of hers. Her friend.
You got a story? Come share it.
Is going through a mental thing in the hospital, really bad, things like that and stuff. But a friend of hers, whom I don't know, she is working to get her kids back. But in the process, my cousin has her kids and her own kids too. So she's like working, and when she's not working, she has the kids. I told her, when I get there, we can explain more about it. She, however, is looking to open up her own business. So she know how to go about the license process and everything. She would love to come to Fort Myers. I told her it'll be after the summer, but she would love to come. And she said, I can't attend any meetings. I don't want to make no promises that I know I'm not going to be able to come up with. Right. But she would like to, when I come and visit, she would like to come with me. When I come visit with you, meet the young people. I know that she could have a good impact because she's a very sweet, kind person. And like the story that I don't want to say it all on here because I feel like it's either her story to tell or it's the lady's story to tell. Okay. And my cousin is so sweet. And when I first heard it, I'm like, whoa. Then today I got to thinking, me and my cousin was on the phone. I was like, you ever been to Florida before? Because me and her, we've been talking about traveling, going somewhere. And she was like, no. She was like, but that sounds kind of fun though. Tell me a little bit more. There's something else to this story. So me and her got to talking there. She couldn't really talk for too long because the kids were jumping around and stuff. I said, don't worry about it. I said, I'm going to let him know, that you're interested in stuff. She was like, please don't count me out. She was like, the kids are supposed to go home in June this summer. I said, that's fine. As long as I'm talking to you and he know that I'm talking to you and I know that you're down with everything and stuff. And you actually, I said, to be honest with you, like, you actually coming to Fort Myers with me will really show that you're very interested. I know that we meeting right now. You can't attend the meetings and stuff like that or whatever. So when I get up there and stuff, I'm going to talk to her more about it and things like that. Hopefully. Definitely. Yeah, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? She can at least jump on here one of the times to see how her schedule is with us since we meet on the weekends. See if she can hop on here one time with us, to hear from you and stuff. But I thought about it. I was like, damn, that is a really good, I mean, when I first found out she had some kids and she was talking to me, this is before I had met you. I was here at home, like in tears because it's crazy what people go through. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And guess what it was all based upon? It was her, the lady, in a relationship. And in the process of whatever had happened, her kids got taken. Luckily and thankfully, my cousin is someone who's close to her because the lady really don't have no family. And she just took the kids welcome arms because she didn't want to see them in the system.
Right. The system is there, but it's not the best solution,
Because everybody don't have that care and that touch and that motherly touch and, doing things out of love. Like, Me,
people do it for money. Just to be real, some people do it for money.
That's like me with my students. Y'all got me working with a whole bunch of young boys, and I love it because guess what? I'm gonna give it to them raw and uncut, just as well as if I would want someone to treat my son.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be yelling and screaming and talking crazy to nobody else's kids because I don't want nobody yelling and screaming talking crazy to my son.
Yeah.
But I will, however, get on them. You know what I'm saying? Just as well as whatever I say and how I say it to them, I can do it in front of their parents and stuff. And that's the type of relationship I got. You know what I mean? I don't make no $1 million. I'm not looking to go into no multi-million-dollar career because guess what? The impacts that I want to have on these different individuals' lives is gonna be way worth more than a multi-million-dollar career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to share that good news with you. I was like, that's a story. And the fact that I said, I told her, I said, I know you don't work with teenagers and stuff. I said, but
we got to catch up again. If you're watching this, is June in like a week. So let's talk about what that means. We got a whole summer here. So if you're still going to be able to make it, let's make it happen.
The fact that you have that good heart and that good attitude and that caring, characteristic and stuff,
Yeah.
she'll be someone that could, be a part of it.
Yeah. And so one thing that I'm going to be launching once we get the program up and running is a men's program and a women's program, like a mentorship type program.
Mm-hmm.
They want me to revive it. They have one called Boys to Men. And it's supposed to be like a rites of passage type program. And by rites of passage, I mean like, that how both boys and women, they go through different stages in life. Like for a woman, the first main stage is her period, and then after the woman goes through her period, then there's a bunch.
You see what I did? I said,
Right. So like women have specific things that they go through that they need other women to kind of coach them through. Because not everybody has a parent that is that is involved in the child's life to kind of like walk them through these steps. Sometimes they're too busy working or they may be in an abusive relationship. So we're creating these rites of passage programs. And really like it's to introduce the young people to adults that are positive influence and that can be beneficial during these different processes. At the best or in the best case scenario, these individuals will like meet the young people and even go out together. Like we want to do events, like go camping, go to cultural events, go to like concerts, whatever, like do things together. But it could also be virtually. So, like eventually, I'd like to get you on there. And then as we meet more people through this process, we can have like virtual mentoring, where young people can like connect one-on-one, but with
I'm down for it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I'm bringing it up, because I'm thinking that I know that you'd be down for it, but then, once your cousin doesn't have so much on her plate, she might be able to do that even from afar, just to kind of like keep her somewhat connected to young people. Because she may feel like now she has a whole bunch of time, once she goes back to like a more regular life.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I told her, I said, oh no, I said, by all means, your situation ain't gonna stop you from, I said, just, what I'm saying? I said, you serving a purpose right now.
Mm-hmm. Now let's go back to the other conversation. So I was talking about not necessarily wanting to be a teacher. When I think teacher, I think coach. Now, granted, it doesn't mean that I won't be, but I'm saying that's not like my number. I think artist is my best case. Like I like the idea of being an artist. That's like, ideally, I would be my happiest if I could just draw and hang out with people and be positive. Doesn't mean I won't be a coach. Doesn't mean I won't be none of those other stuff. Now, I want to tie everything to time, because you see me talk about the future, talk about the past. So I think that coaches and teachers are experts on the past. That's where I put the category of coaches and teachers. Now, that doesn't mean that a coach and a teacher can't know about the future. It doesn't mean that a coach and a teacher can't know about the present. I'm just saying that in general, their expertise is going to be found in an idea or a concept or something about the past. Like, you learn a skill and then you talk about that skill. I'm saying that's a past conversation. So I put coaches and teachers in the box of experts about the past.
Or subject matter, any, law. That's what the law it is. You could study it, but that's all in the past. That's the idea behind it. So it could be subject matter as well.
I put players, and when I say players, I mean facilitators. Like if we're facilitating an experience like this, and this can include teachers as well. But then teachers that are more neutral, like you're running a meeting or you're living in the moment. We're talking about taboo free talk show, like things in the moment. We're players. Influencers are players. Anyway, so people. Entertainers, they're players. And by players, I mean that they're in the moment. They're present. They're not necessarily an expert in the past, but they are an expert in the moment.
When in the process of delivering an experience.
And that's why they're an entertainer. And I put artists in that category too. So artists, entertainers.
Because obviously all these individuals from all these fields do study. They do go into the past and evaluate and reflect and kind of all the good stuff. They do that as well.
They are like the experts of the moment. And then
and by the good stuff, I mean all those all those processes, all those all those actions that produce and promote your dream space.
When I think about future, I'm thinking about, like, when it comes to sports, I'll use the word scouts, or matchmakers. You know, really, really is matchmaking. And I do love the idea of matchmaking. And then I guess this is good that I'm bringing it up because you like talking about the future as well. One of the skills that we develop as individuals that talk about the future is we develop the skill of matchmaking. For instance, after thinking about the future so much, it's easy.
Had to put IU down and back. And I think I just heard me say I want to be a dating coach. Let me go ahead and correct that. I don't want to be necessarily a dating coach, but I'd like to have the influence of a dating coach, and I'd like to coach coaches. I would like for individuals to come in contact with my content and become better coaches. Like, I don't necessarily want to coach, but I want my content to teach. I want my art to teach. I want everything I've done to speak for me. So to the degree you learn about my life, to that degree, then you'll learn these different roles and you can serve your fellow brothers better, fellow brothers and sisters in a better way.
Or a relationship coach, because I could be like, oh man, so-and-so's personality would match great with so-and-so. In sports, the way that looks like is, if I'm a scout, I'll be like, oh, this high school player would make a great player for the university of so-and-so because the coach from the university in so-and-so has a great way of working with this kind of personality. Mm-hmm. That makes sense? So ideally, I would like to be in the moment, because I think that when you're living in the moment, that's when you're less, that you can escape stress, you can be happy, you can, you're in a position of health, like you're just in the moment. However, if
all you got to do is carry your weight, have correct posture and breathe rhythmically, practice long inhalation, exhalation cycle. And that's it, and be good.
If you're alone, then you also got, like, for instance, in your case, for instance, where you don't have like a partner at the moment, you can't just live in the moment, because you got to be able to look into the future. You got to look everywhere, because you're not part of like a team, so to speak. So
meaning you got to pay your bills. So giving attention to paying your bills takes you out the moment. Now, if you were part of a team, then that responsibility can fall on one person. It doesn't have to fall on both people.
So same thing with me. Now I have, like, when Betsy was working, I wasn't thinking about the future at all. I didn't pay no bills. I didn't think about nothing about the future. I was just focused on the kids and focused on my work. Like, the only thing I thought about the future was with the project. But I mean, I didn't think about paying bills. I didn't think, like, I left my mind. I said, don't think about none of that. So Betsy was the one that had to think about that.
And I'm very appreciative for her for wanting to do that. It was a choice she wanted, and she went through the process and she learned, and I'm very grateful for that.
Because I'm saying, if we're going to work as a team, well, then you think about it. We both don't got to stress over it. Like, go on, you're making the money right now, so you can focus your energy on that. Now I'm getting my mind kind of back. Since I'm generating income, I'm trying to get my mind back on that. But because...
Don't worry, Betsy will help you.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, so, like, Betsy and Jaden...
Betsy will help you.
Yeah, like, I'm like, well, if I go make the money, then I don't got to think about it. I'll let them just keep thinking about it. But really what we're doing is we're putting the responsibility on Jaden. So Jaden's 15, but it's time that he starts learning about that, and he likes it. So he has all the bank account passwords, he pays the bills online, like, so he's going through that process. But all that to say is that ideally I'd like to live in the moment. And that's why I'd rather not be a coach, because that takes me to conversations about the past. However, with the people that are in my circle, I'm okay being of service and being able to go in the past, because ultimately, if we address the past of all the people that are with us, like, if we have people that are on our team that are hurt, right, and we can be there for them to help them see the past in a way that can benefit them, well, then we can take them out the past. We can help them relieve that stress. So I want to still be able to do that, but I don't want to, like, start a business of coaching people on the past. You know what I mean? Like, that wouldn't be like my main thing that I would want to do. And if I did, I would probably be more interested in doing that with only a small number of people, because ultimately I'd rather spend most of my day living my best life, because I think that's the example that we need to show the people that don't want to be here no more. And then what I'm saying is, life don't got to be this serious, because I've approached life in a serious way before. And it's cool because you can get work done. Like, in my 20s, I was pretty serious. I went to school, I went to work, and I was getting things done. But you could also enjoy life and look at it like a game, and I think some people never make that click, and they see life so serious, and then life hits you in the face, like life comes at you, and then you're taking it serious.
Then you experience life.
And then you can become depressed when you don't see, like, oh man, it's about to be like this for 10, 20, forever, So I want to be able to be that example that things can be different. And then I do like the idea of matchmaking, but even then, that's not something that I want to spend my full time doing either. But today, tomorrow, while we're doing this, I think that's the best way that I could serve people is by playing like the role of coach, and by being able to play the role of matchmaker. And the way that that can look like through these taboo-free talk shows is like, once we start interviewing people, once we start having an audience, we can do question and answer sessions, right? And really like what we're doing now is practicing. We're practicing questions and answers because ultimately that's going to be the fastest way that we can serve people. Because we're going to have people come, like your cousin, like the people in the divorce group, like Daniel, like whatever, that are going to have things that are going through their heads that they want to have a conversation about. And then they can just say it. If they have a question or a statement, they can say it, and then we can answer it. And then to the degree that we have clarity on how to answer it, then we can best serve people. But ultimately, I'm playing. And then if all I got to do is show up 1-2 hours a day to do questions and answer, I'll be happy with that. Right?
Sounds
Real
good.
talk.
Mm-hmm.
Real talk.
Something I did want to tell you about what I was doing today. So, remember that I was telling you I was working on a grant some time ago? So we've decided to go in a slightly different direction. So I kind of rewrote it.
Okay.
But I'm more excited about it more even now. So we're removing the construction element from it, right?
Okay.
And, so the new focus is going to be more entrepreneurship. Yeah. And then the idea is that we could get young people, 18 to 32, and we could work with them towards their education, leadership development, and entrepreneurship. So education is regular, like adult education, like GED, post-secondary.
That's that's what I mean. That's my field. So
Yep.
we're talking now.
Leadership development is kind of what we're doing here, professional development.
So I'm gonna write this down. Just adult education.
In adult education, job training, leadership development, and entrepreneurship. So check out the way it works. So with the entrepreneurship, or which is like the main component of it, right? Is like we help them create profiles. We help them create portfolios to show their work. We do workshops and trainings, and we bring in speakers so that they can know the ins and the outs of entrepreneurship, starting a business, choosing an idea, building a business, operating the business, etc. Once they have their idea, then we connect them to lenders. And then like we do a monthly event where we have the participants that want to start a business, and then we invite people that want to lend money for people that want to start a business. And then we do like a mixer so they can get to know each other throughout the program.
Okay.
And
Okay.
at the end of the program, they can do a pitch to try to raise capital for their idea. And then the lenders, it could be as little as I put $17. 17? Yeah, as low as $17. So people like regular people like me and you will be able to like, oh, well, here's $17 towards your idea. And then when they repay that, they'll repay it. We can say, oh, no interest, or we can put an interest on it. I do think that it's okay to do interest, just because then you can flip it and put it right back into it to provide more funding for the next person and just let that money keep circulating itself. But the creative part is that the houses that we purchase with the grant can serve as temporary housing for the people that are trying to start their business. So, it's a way of them not having to like focus on making it in the real world, so to speak, but then they can live in this house, like a business incubation center, up to 6 months a year, to be able to completely focus on their idea so that then they can launch it. And then it recycles because they are able to get a loan, pay it back, and then that money is available for the next group that's coming in, and it becomes an ongoing thing. So I'm excited about it. And the thing too is it kind of like we can create like a show around it where it's like a Shark Tank feel.
Okay.
Because ultimately that's what it is. It's like we're getting young people who come from low income backgrounds, or they fit a criteria that makes them a target population, special needs, veteran, homeless. But the main purpose is to get them funding to start their own business. And if they're having trouble with housing, then they can stay with us temporarily. And then half of the housing is going to be reserved for individuals with special needs that are eligible for independent living. So then we can work with them to be able to also get them access to education, leadership development, and if they're interested, funding for entrepreneurship as well.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to pitch it to them. I wrote the narrative today. And then
now for the housing, like with the apartments be located nearby?
Yeah.
Where you all work at?
Yes. Like 2 miles. We're looking at 2 properties right now, and they're both within 2 to 3 miles from the office. And one of them is 13 bedrooms and one of them is 5 bedrooms. So the 13 bedroom, I think, would be great for the business incubation center, where we have like a staff on site. We set up like a computer room. We bring in people to speak. Like we can run the program from that house in addition to our building. And then half of the rooms there would be for independent living for individuals with special needs, so that so that there's income coming into the house, so that there's revenue coming into the house.
Okay.
And then the house can kind of like pay itself and also generate income to be able to reinvest into people's ideas. So I'm excited about it, you know, because ultimately it's going to be a way that we can start generating a lot of small businesses in our local area.
Most definitely.
You know, and then we have a lot of resources by the, you know, we have a kitchen, so we can have a culinary department. We can do construction. We can do everything that we already do in our main building. We can also provide them landscaping, like gardening, like we could do everything. So I'm excited about that. And I was working on the narrative today.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, keep me updated on that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's something that we can do even if we don't get this grant anyway. Like, because we have,
of course.
Yeah, we have the resources. And, you know, once I write the program, I just wrote the narrative. It wouldn't be like, it would take me a couple hours to do a schedule on what I've done something similar to this before. So minus the entrepreneurship focus. The entrepreneurship focus would be the new thing that I haven't necessarily done. But I've been.
But you already have good ideas. So I'm quite sure your idea will be great because you come up with great ideas. And one thing about with you is that you will think for a second before you speak. But it's always in good thought though. You know what I mean?
And I know people who started their own business that like I don't gotta know it all. I can just go get people that are already doing it, you know? So then that's the cool part about it. And then with the internet, there's so many new businesses that we can create now with low overhead. Like some people can start like marketing agencies, social media management companies. Like you can do drop shipping, you can do t-shirts, you can do candles, you can do whatever. Like you can do life coaching, you can do whatever. Like the list is endless of things that you could do. And then if we're able to offer a support system, especially like housing, you know, because that ideally, as long as the houses are generating some income to cover the basics, you know, I wouldn't want to charge the people. I wouldn't want to, like, we're not trying to make money off of it like that. We want to be able to have the impact, you know? So that's what makes me most excited. Cause I'm like, man, imagine if you're trying to start a business and you got coaches and you can stay at a place for like up to 6 months to get on your feet. Good opportunity. So yeah. So then that also requires the skill of matchmaking, you know, because then as a coordinator, what I would want to do is I would want to find individuals and match them with individuals similar to them in the fields that they want to get into. You know, and maybe it doesn't have to be local, like, so that way they don't feel the competition. You know, some people feel like, oh, I don't want to, they might feel threatened, but it doesn't have to be that way because we can find people from other states to be able to provide that supportive service, you know, so that, and we can find people locally who are not going to be threatened by competition. So, but I think that matchmaking the participant with a good mentor that is in the field that they want to get into would be the secret sauce, right? Like for instance, you're in a position where like you're surrounded by a good mix of different adults with different skills that can basically allow you to see a 360 degree as to what's going on in life. And that's ultimately what we would want to do for, you know, the participants. So yeah, so I'll keep you posted on that.
Definitely. I got my little notes. I put a reminder on it to remind you.
Yeah. And see, everything I'm talking about, like, I think once we get the program started, I'm almost seeing you like another worker, almost like you're going to be in there in the.
Well, you know what I mean? We're going to start up with like virtually because like, I know it's kind of crazy or whatever, but it's like when we meet, it's like you work in Alton also, and I work in Fort Myers too. Right. So it's like we come together, and it's like we're working together, but we're working for 2 different locations. So it's like, I know it's kind of crazy, but at the same time, like you give me advice and training and all of this stuff, but it's kind of cool because I thought about it earlier today. I'm like, it feels like I work in Fort Myers and there because I'm getting ready to work with the students. It's cool though because my boss let me do all of this, and she's so happy. Like, and I said I'm gonna make her so proud. Like when I start working with our students and stuff, and the impact it's gonna have and everything.
Yeah. And then the ideas that we do here, like it's almost like then we can implement there, and then we can write a grant. Like if they have an opportunity to get access to a grant, I'll send you everything that we wrote for it so that you could apply for it over there.
And you know what else? That'd be a wonderful idea. And you know what else though too? I was just thinking pretty soon, like me working virtually, and then they saying that me and my cousin going out our own pocket to pay for tickets to come to Fort Myers and stuff. It's gonna be sponsors that will sponsor that. You know what I mean? It's like individuals out there that will sponsor that. So it's always good to, you know, network and things like that. Or, you know, of course, which I'm gonna continue to do to network and everything.
So how about this? Let's just turn it into a conference of some sort. So when you're ready to come, let's make a conference here. That way, it's almost like you're coming to a conference when you come down here. Why not, right? And then we can invite others. We'll invite Dan. We'll do a thing out here. And look, we'll use my building, or we can use another building too. Like we could just that way it could even be that much more meaningful. Like we'll have something going on here that is work related as well. Because I think that would be a good way that people may want to sponsor a trip. Like we'll pay for your ticket, you know. So yeah, okay, perfect. So we'll include that. That way, when we can plan for it later on in the year, when you have a better clue as to when you want to.
Yeah, when I have a better clue and like when everything is starting to align and you know everything like that together and stuff, then I'll be able to provide you with a better idea like when we can come and things like that and stuff.
Okay.
Cool. Jaden, you want to tune me out, please? Tune me out.
Tune out. The Black Hair Party has presented the Real Talk Show, where we talk about friendship, love, and purpose. That was your host, JRX36, and we will see you next time.
And
Take care.
IU made a special
Bye-bye.
appearance.
Deuces.
Deuces. Hasta luego.